Yes, guys, Specie here, and it is monster time, monster reveal day. All 4 cards from the monster set of the upcoming expansion have been revealed. We had some big clues that it was going to be linked with the Crones. Due to the card text they gave us, we predicted it was going to be the Mother of Crones as the legendary card, and we had some other predictions. Let's see if we got them right. First of all, though, we did get a brand new keyword, Sabbath. Trigger this ability if one of your rows has a total of 25 or more power. So if one of your rows has 25 points or more, then your Sabbath ability will come in to play. Really cool, love this keyword. Of course, Sabbath is the holiday in Velen that they celebrate the Crones. So very much a Witcher-related word. And it's really encouraging monsters to go Tool. Of course, playing directly into Igni, which is quite thematic with the fact that Geralt is the certain Witcher that they hinted towards spoiling the feast. So really love this idea of being incentivized to go Tool with your monster deck, and the fact that Igni is like the perfect counter seems like a really cool design choice. So let's look at the 4 cards. I'm also going to tell you a little bit about the lore behind the cards, about some of the history maybe, and where the inspiration has come from as well. I've got a couple of the card text as well. So the first card that was revealed was She Who Knows, the Mother of Crones. Now, if you haven't seen my video that I posted of my predictions of the legendary cards, we did get She Who Knows right about 3 or 4 days ago. So I made predictions for the Skellige, all the leaders, so still Skellige, Nilfgaard and Scoia'tael. Those 2 are confirmed as well. So if you want to find out who the legendary cards are, and in fact even see their card arts, make sure you check that video out. But She Who Knows is the Mother of Crones, and she's a 10 base power, 13 provision card. She has the Relic tag and Sabbath ability. So remember, if one of your rows, doesn't have to be her row, it's just one of the rows. If it's over 25, then this Sabbath ability will come into play. At the end of the round, give resilience to the highest base power unit on your side of the battlefield. So base power isn't like the boost. So if you boost a card up to 55 strength, no, that's not going to work. It's the base power, this number here, that the card starts in the deck builder with. So She Who Knows being a 10 base power unit. What you can do with this card, let's say you have, for example, Old Spear Tip on the board, and you have this Sabbath ability. She Who Knows would then give Old Spear Tip resilience, and it is the strongest, the highest on your side of the board. So she can't give your opponent's Spear Tip resilience, fortunately. So that's really cool. 12 carryover is no joke. But where this really comes into play is actually you can use her in round 1 to give resilience to herself. So if she is the highest base power unit, She Who Knows will then carry over to the next round. And then, of course, you could try and get her to carry over again, or you might get Old Spear Tip down on the board. The other big targets for this are going to include Frightener as well. That's going to keep its immunity. Be careful, though, because Egon has armor, which is a status, and statuses... Armor is not a status. That doesn't carry over. So armor will be wiped. Boosts will be wiped. It's just the base power and the statuses that stick. So if you were to try and carry over Egon, the armor is going to get removed and it's going to die. It's the same with living armor as well. But Old Spear Tip is going to work. Frightener will keep its immunity, so that's going to be a great target as well. So ideally, round 1, She Who Knows carries herself over. And then in round 2, you would get an even taller card. Also, Vi is another card that can strengthen to a really high base power. So in theory, you could have like a 25-point Vi carrying over as well, which does sound rather daunting. Also has this Relic tag, which we're going to see a little bit of synergy with some other cards. But how are you going to use this? Well, I think the main way, for sure, is going to be using Ilharaquax, the Unicorn. So if we just come over to here, like, of course, we've seen Ilharaquax is just a fantastically powerful card in V-decks because it is going to mill your opponent's highest provision card, and it just makes a ton of sense with She Who Knows. As explained, to get the most use out of this card, you want her down on the board in round 1, and the Unicorn here is going to pull her. She's the highest provision card, which she's 13, so she should be. You're going to mill your opponent's best card. And yeah, it's even helping you get that Sabbath because it's putting 4 points extra on the board. So you just need to have Sabbath on one of your rows at the end of the round. So in theory, you could have She Who Knows on her own in the row. And then in the other row, you could have 25 plus points if you wanted to play around Igni, for example. Really cool card. How good is it? I'm not sure. I think the fact that it has the Ilharaquax synergy is something a lot of people are not realizing how powerful that is. Milling your opponent's card while putting your own on the board is amazing. And really fun card. There's another really big thing with this, though, that is really, really easy to overlook. And I think is actually the most exciting thing about this card. And that is the synergy it has with a neutral mage named Alza. Of course, it's a mage expansion, we've seen a few new spells introduced already, and Alza with a Neuromancy is already a combination that's really underlooked by the community, or overlooked I should say, I guess, because recently Regis got made 12 provisions, and if you have Alza down on the board and you use a Neuromancy, it's going to spawn a random 13 provision unit. Well, at the moment there's 3 13 provisions, this is the 4th one, so you're going to have a 1 in 4 chance to spawn She Who Knows with Alza and a Neuromancy in any faction at all. That is pretty crazy. So the 4 options are Draug, 7 base power. You can get Great Oak, which is now 8, or Kel Tullis, which is 9. So be careful. Usually you're going to want to play Alza in the back. Of course, there's some situations, maybe you're against a Swarm deck, where getting a Kel Tullis in Northern Realms, for example, could be quite exciting. So I love this card because really fun design, amazing card art and character, and great lore behind the card. But also just not only can you build a whole deck around it, but it's also going to give you just an amazing Alza payoff, which is already a really exciting card. I was looking forward to trying this expansion. Her flavor text as well is, she knows well what kind of clay her daughters are made of. After all, she needed it herself. If you want to know a little bit more about the lore behind She Who Knows, again, that video where I made the predictions, I did read some Witcher 3 journal entries all about her. So that's the first card. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. Maybe, okay, it's not the most competitive, but you can build a whole deck around it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then the fact that also the Alza synergy as well is just sort of the absolute icing on the cake. Also, Malaspina as well. Malaspina, for example, onto Philippa Alhart in Northern Realms could find She Who Knows. So really exciting to see Alza Malaspina making a bit of an entrance into the next expansion. Really, really cool cards. Okay, up next we have the Witch Apprentice. So this was the second card revealed. We also have the flavor text for this one. Mistress said I would have to toss it on the spit after I finished my studies, but she was just kidding, right? So this is a 4 provision common relic, so it has that same tag. Really looking forward to seeing the premium card on this one for sure. It also has the Sabbath tag, so remember, if one of your rows has 25 power or more, this is going to trigger. And it's working very similar to the Beast. At the end of your turn, boost self by 2. Wow, what a scary card. In the right decks, this card is going to be completely broken. Honestly, I feel like it's probably going to be overpowered. Is my gut feeling over this card in certain decks. Vi, in particular, is the card that comes to mind. Because, yeah, it's very, very similar to Beast. There's no other engine, I don't think, in the game that is going to play for 2 points per turn at 4 provisions. One thing you could say that does is Neckers, for example, but it's kind of different, right? Neckers can be very easily removed. With this card, you can actually start it coming in at 6 power very, very easily if you've got that Sabbath condition met. So a bit scared to see how this one plays out. Of course, you're going to have to play a few cards to get the Sabbath working, but then when you do, this is just going to be ridiculous. Particularly in Vi decks, this is just going to be an auto-include. Part of me is really hoping that Vi is actually going to catch some reworks based off this card alone, because I think it just seems really, really overpowered in a Vi deck. But really cool card, definitely an interesting take, and of course, looking forward to seeing how it plays out, and fingers crossed Vi gets some sort of rework, because I hate Vi, but that's a story for another time maybe. Up next, Rat Catcheress. This is one of today's reveals, so we don't have the flavor text for this one. I'll try and zoom in a bit, but what an absolute ridiculous card. I think this is my favorite looking card art so far. We've got some children in the background, and we have the Rat Catcheress floating with this grey theme in the card. Just looks amazing. Cannot wait to see the premiums of this. It's another relic. It's 9 base power at 7 strength. And just like when you're looking at a 13 provision card, you need to consider the Alza synergy. In monsters, 7 provisions is another really important card to consider. Also, since Witch Apprentice, Portal is also potentially something to consider right at 4 provisions. But the Rat Catcheress at 7, there's a very specific card that this is going to work very nicely with indeed. And that is the Penitent. Now, if you don't know what the Penitent is, because it doesn't see much play, it is a bit of a classic Monsters card, which apparently I don't know how to spell pen, which would be like this. It is a Spectre, not a relic, but it's a 2 strength, 7 provision cards that has Thrive, and then its Death Wish is summon a random 7 cost unit from your deck to a random allied row. So you could play Penitent down on the board, and then when you get to this Sabbath condition, you could then consume your Penitent, making use of its Thrive first, and then getting the Rat Catcheress down on the board. So this has an ability of, whenever this unit is damaged, reduce its base power by 1. Now, base power is also known as strength. So this is its base power. If it was boosted, by a pact to 15, its base power would still be 9 on a normal card, right? So you can tell if it's a base power or boosted or lower by if the symbol is green, it's boosted. If it's red, it's damaged below its base power. And if it's just normal, that's what its base power is. So whenever this unit is damaged, reduce its base power by 1. So let's say you were to damage it by 1 point with a Redanian archer, for example. It would then go to 8 with a red symbol, but then it would also lower its strength. So it would actually go to 7 with a red symbol. So its base power would then change to 8. So if you were to boost it by 1, for example, then it would just... It wouldn't have the red symbol. It would be 8 with just like the normal symbol. However, Sabbath cancel the ability above. So if you have this on a row of 25 or above, this condition isn't going to be the case. Now, what I would imagine happens, let's say, for example, you have a row of 26 and they rebuke this card that's on the row of 26, it would still lose base power, right? So that's something to consider. You're probably going to want to have like a row of 30 odd plus for this card. And there also is a passive ability, which is whenever you play a relic, increase this unit's base power by 1. So this is the relic synergy that I was talking about that has been revealed. So if you can play any relic cards, the base power of this card is going to increase. And of course, if you can increase it dramatically, that's going to be a fantastic target for She Who Knows. Added to that, it could also be a fantastic Ozeril target as well. And the fact that you can pull this off with Penitent is really cool, because Penitent is a card that you want to have down on the board early. You want to leave it on the board to gain the Thrive procs. Previously, if you play Beast with Penitent, for example, there's a bit of a clash, because you want to get the Thrive value, but also you want to get your engine down. So this is just the perfect card for Penitent, really. Urn of Shadows, don't forget, as well as a stratagem, can trigger the Penitent. So that's really cool as well. You could get a nice thick row nice and quickly with Urn of Shadows Penitent. And Penitent as well is to a random allied row, unfortunately, which means you couldn't go Penitent, Urn of Shadows, and then eat it and guarantee both of your 7s to go on the same row, therefore getting Sabbath. They could spawn on different rows. So that's just something to bear in mind. But Penitent seems like the best way to use it for sure. My gut feeling is this card doesn't look very good at the moment, but if there's more relic support, it could improve. And of course, there may well be some relic rework. So just to take a look at the relic cards that already exist in the game, there's Weaver's Incantation, there's Ilharaquax, which we've mentioned before is definitely going to be a card if you're playing this sort of archetype with She Who Knows. There's All God, there's Caretaker, Maruna, again a great card that works with this Death Wish, as does Penitent. It works fantastically with Urn of Shadows as well. Redea also, bear in mind, can get you this Urn of Shadows. There is the Unicorn Chironex, maybe they'll get buffed. Whisper's Tribute, which is a great card. There's Doodoo. There's the Crones themselves, which do have a definite clash with Penitent, unfortunately. I would love to see these come in at a different provision range, either 8 and improve them, or 6 and weaken them slightly, just so that we could play Penitent as well. I think that would be really cool. Johnny and Sarah are both relics, and that makes sense because Johnny was actually at the Sabbath in Witcher 3. We've got Doppler, Succubus, and Maralorn. So Succubus, fantastically good card. Maralorn, you might be thinking this card is trash, but honestly, it's really underrated. It is a 9 for 5 if you use it on a Harpy Egg. So Maralorn's also got some very decent potential. So it looks like there's some sort of like Death Wish relic deck that we could be finding our way in, but I just don't think there's going to be enough support on day 1 of the expansion with just 4 new cards. It seems like one of those archetypes that really needs a whole expansion. If you look at Witcher NR, for example, that was something that happened where all these cards came out at once and bang, there's a deck. Whereas this looks to be sort of building up towards it a little bit more slowly. But again, bear in mind, there's likely to be reworks of cards in between each of the expansion drops. And we already know there's going to be a lot of Northern Realms reworks. So who says there can't be more monster reworks for these relic cards as well? I think like Unicorn Chironex in particular, I would expect to be getting buffed, as this seems to be what they're pushing with monsters. They're not idiots. They know that this archetype is going to need some more support, so I would fully expect to see some changes. Okay, last but certainly not least, we have Gankian. Probably butchering it. Complete filth card art. The way the eyes are just the center of the picture. Okay, they're off to the left, but your eyes are just drawn to this face where it's looking straight at us. I have a sneaky suspicion the premium card of this is going to be the new Parasite, the new selective mutations that people just really don't like. My feeling is the eyes are going to potentially be moving from left to right as well. So really, really excited to see what this is all about. And I've got a little bit of lore about this card for you as well. But let's look at the ability first. It's 5 power, 5 provision. So far the other factions have had a 5 provision card as well, but they've been special cards, such as Casting Contest and the Hysteria, whereas this one is in fact just another unit. And on deploy, it is going to increase the unit's base power by 2 for each adjacent relic. More relic synergy. So if you've got 2 relics, a relic sandwich, you put Gankian in there, 9 for 5. Very, very respectable indeed. And also, don't forget, it's going to be boosting up the base power of your Ratcatcheress as well. So you've got your Witch Apprentice, and you've also got She Who Knows with other relics, as well as all these other sorts of cards as well. Potentially, some older cards might be getting the relic tag as well, etc. So, yeah. How good is this card? Well, it seems pretty good. It's got some amazing synergy with Ghoul, remember, which is a Necrophage. Ghoul is a 6 provision, 2 strength card that can consume a bronze unit from your graveyard. At the moment, the best target for that is going to be the Onel Conquerors or the Kikimor Workers, but this is going to be an extra 2 points for the Ghoul. So I would say if you're playing 2 of these, you're probably going to play 1 Ghoul maybe, and then you've got 2 9 for 5s and 1 11 for 6, which is incredibly well statted. Really like this card design. Again, this relic payoff seems really cool. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit about what the heck is this, because, you know, the Ratcatcheress just looks like a Don. We've got the Witch Apprentice, which just looks really cool. We've got She Who Knows, who of course I've done the lore behind. But then this, what is this monster? It's like a specific monster. Well, it is based on Irish folklore, which, I mean, if you look at the Witcher books, what Sapokotchi did, and I always seem to butcher that pronunciation, hopefully I got it right, is he did take a lot of inspiration from other cultures and things like that with the monsters. And this Dullahan here, or this also known as Gankian, is taken from Irish folklore. And it means without a head in Irish. So it's a mythological creature from Irish folklore. So it's depicted as a headless rider, usually on a black horse, who carries his own head on his arm. Usually the Dullahan is male, but there are some female versions. It is said to be the embodiment of the Celtic god Crom Dub. The myth of Dullahan comes from Ireland. The mouth is usually in a hideous grin that touches both sides of the head. Okay, that was the worst Irish accent. I did it on stream earlier and it was actually decent. I lived with a lot of Irish people at university, so I can do it, but I butchered it. I had my chance. I ruined it. Its eyes are constantly moving about and can see across the countryside. So obviously when you first see this card, you get the feeling that actually this is somebody else's head. But then you realize this is its head, okay? And it carries it in its arm. Now, did you notice that little bit about the eyes moving as well? The mouth is usually in a hideous grin, so the mouth is being hidden by the hand here. Maybe the hand is going to just creep down and reveal this hideous grin that goes from ear to ear. Its eyes are constantly moving about, yes, and can see across the countryside even during the darkest nights. The flesh of the head is said to have the colour and consistency of mouldy cheese. And this is the best bit for me. The Dullahan is believed to use the spine of a human corpse for a whip, and its wagon is adorned with funeral objects. It has candles and skulls to light the way, and the spokes of the wheels are made from thigh bones, and the wagon's covering is made from a worm-chewed pal or dried human skin. The ancient Irish believed that when the Dullahan stops riding, a person is due to die. The Dullahan calls out the person's name, drawing away the soul of his victim, at which point the person immediately drops dead. There are rumours that golden objects can force the Dullahan to disappear. So of course silver in the Witcher universe is what is used to kill monsters, but the Dullahan seemingly gold is its worst nightmare. So they are the card reveals. Overall, how playable do I think these are as cards? I don't think they're going to be very strong without serious support, but of course as more of the expansion is revealed and more cards are dropped in the later months, because remember, we're not just getting the full expansion, it's being spread out over 3 card sets, and of course in between every 2 months we're getting new cards, and in between that we've been promised some balance patches and things like that where we'll probably see some reworks and such. So I am going to give, like I gave the Northern Realms a 10 out of 10 because I just love it. I've given Syndicate maybe like 7 or an 8. I'm going to give Monsters for like just design and how I feel about this art type. I'm going to give it a 8 because I'm worried about the Witch Apprentice, as if I'm honest. I think this card is quite a scary card. Very, very powerful. And then the other cards, She Who Knows, I'm giving a straight 10 out of 10. Maybe it's not the best card, but if you compare it to Siri Nova, it does seem really good. Just doesn't have the deck building cost. It's got the unicorn synergy. But just like this Sabbath keyword, I think is phenomenal. It's flavorful in terms of the Witch universe. It makes sense with the cards that are being printed. Just a really, really cool direction. The only reason I'm not giving it like a higher score again is I'm just quite scared of the Witch Apprentice. And I think on day one of the expansion without some serious support, it isn't going to be competitively viable. Whereas I feel like these Northern Realms cards, a lot of them you could just, particularly a lot of these cards you could just put in to decks and they're actually going to perform really, really well. In fact, I would say all these cards are going to have decks that they perform particularly well in. Whereas this Monsters seems like it's just going to need some more support. So yeah, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I still absolutely love it. I think it's so cool. Like the theme is fantastic. I just think maybe we might have to wait a little bit longer. So massive, massive props to CDPR. I really do think they're smashing out of the park. The fact that this synergizes with Alza and Malaspina is just the absolute icing on the cake. So that you can use this amazingly cool card in every single faction. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And okay, you're going to have to win a 1 in 4, but that's actually really good odds. So there might be more 13 provision cards printed as well to make the odds of that worse, but still. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. What are you most excited for? We're not going to have any reveals tomorrow on Sunday. That is going to be a day off. But on Monday, we are going to be back with Nilfgaard. I would expect Fringilla Vigo to be reworked and improved to fit with this theme. We know Riance is going to be one of the cards. Again, if you want to see more details on Riance and see his card art, make sure to check out that other video. So Monday, Tuesday are going to be Nilfgaard. Then Wednesday and Thursday will be Skellige. Scoia'tael, Friday, Saturday, something like that, because Saturday and Sunday is Gwent Masters, where there will be some cards revealed as well. If you guys would like to see any videos on Gwent Masters as well, let me know. There's going to be the draw show on Monday, so look out for that. Of course, Life Coach, you've got DeMarcos, Freddy Babes, Magpie, Tailbot, Game King, Colomon, all sorts of big names. Sorry to whoever I forgot. I didn't mean it in any disrespectful way because I feel like I left one person out there. But really excited for that. I'm going to be streaming like a little watch party for that as well on my Twitch channel closer to the time. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget there's also going to be 2 neutral cards as well to be revealed. So no reveals tomorrow, but Monday is when Nilfgaard, it is time for Nilfgaard. So looking forward to seeing what sort of ability Riance has for sure with that beautiful card art that has actually been doing the rounds of the internet for over 2 years and has never been in the game. Again, thanks. Leave me some comments if there's anything you wanted to talk about. And if you have enjoyed the video, please do consider liking. It really does help out the channel. Also, if you're not subscribed, consider doing so. Like over 50% of the people that watch the videos aren't. Sorry for babbling. I'll let you go on with your day. Nice one, Cyril. Nice one, son. Bye. One take!